of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night, though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it, we have that right.
We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river, that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river, that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river, that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
Oh yes, a lot of you gon' vex, but I tell you, sometimes you just got to listen. There's a child in every home and every community. They will grow up to be symbols of unity. They'll be colorblind to race and ethnicity. That's the vision of a leader like President Irfan Ali. I'm talking about the one Guyana where our people can live in peace, where every race trusts each other, where racial prejudice no longer exists. Our children will have one Guyana to grow up in a land united and free with equality and blessed with prosperity. For too long we've been fighting one another. It's race against race, but in the end the country suffer. Oh, we were born here, not in India nor Africa. But if we can't get along, the foreigners gon' eat we suffer. We must put an end to racism. Let it end now with this generation. Together we'll develop this nation. Make Guyana the gem of the Caribbean. Don't listen to them wicked politicians who will divide us to win an election. Believe it or not, Guyanese no smarter than that. Yeah, I told you, it's your boy Padmore. Unity is the key. We are all one and we should be treated as one. Our ancestors were slaves and laborers, but the life they endured made it better for us. We honor their sacrifice and the freedom they bought for we. But some descendants of slaves use that to fuel the rich. It doesn't matter what's your skin color, when we bleed blood it's red the same. Let's respect and love one another. When a brother cry we must feel the pain. We're Portuguese, African and Indian. We're Chinese mixed up, we're Amerindians, we're all Guyanese. Let's end this segregation. I'm appealing to Guyanese in the diaspora. We welcome you home we've got a lot to offer. It's not the same place that you run away from. Come see the paradise Guyana has now become. I'm talking about the one Guyana, where our people can live in peace, where every race trusts each other, where racial prejudice no longer exists. Our children will have one Guyana, to grow up in a land united and free, with equality and blessed with prosperity. It's a message I just want you to understand. Stop and think for a minute. Really think for a minute. If we can't fix the present, then we should work on the future.
This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more. Guyana got things, we growing wings and developing things. The government real and that's a big deal. I'm singing from my heart, Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I... This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana.
Good morning to everybody. Welcome down to Livewire. It is the 9th of September 2024. Welcome to another episode. Sorry to be away from you guys Friday last. Some unforeseen circumstances, technical difficulties, we could call them, but we have them sorted out, and we're here again from 8 to 9 with you guys Monday to Friday, bringing you all the necessary information to get you out of the noise that's happening out there in some quarters. Morning to all the persons across the 10 administrative regions. Morning to all the people in the diaspora. A special good morning to all the people tuned in and in the comment section already. John Ragnat, morning to you, joining us from Texas. Rafi Singh, Abdul Sultan, Nirmala Allen, Dianan Suku. Special good morning to you, Mona from the Kumaka Health Center. Pam, morning to you, and Trevor. Jasoda, Sergeant, good morning. Dial, morning to you. The time counting down. When you landing in the country for this wedding? Philip Diabru, morning to you. Norman Aziz, Chitra Sukraj, good morning to you. Jasoda Budram, Gayatri Baldio, Rajendra Singh, Alan Khan, Ramnarayan Singh, morning to you. Geeta Prasad, Daniel Kochi, morning to you. Cindy Saruchan, good morning to you. Jane from St. Martin, special good morning to you. I hope all is well and you're doing fine. Geeta Prasad, Leslie Mongol, Rajendra Mahes, Cecil Rampasad, good morning to you. Kamish Jaikaran, good morning to you. No, we didn't have a show on Friday, Kamish, but we're here again today. Reni Prasad, morning to you. Savita Sukraj, Datan Andalal, Rakesh, morning. Philip Gonraj, Ganesh Samlal, good morning to you. Leslie Mongol, morning to you. Richard Stanislas, Jamila Kayum, Prem Prashad, Chris, Ramesh Ramcharan, morning to you. Mazo Inshan, Maureen Razio, Asif Hamad, Krishna Diodat, Prem Pushram Kishore, good morning to you. Lance Henry, morning to you. Ian Bipat, joining us from Barbados, morning to you, brother. Vishnu Narain, good morning to you. Sherwin Siram, Michael Danis, Marlon Boyce, Dale Henry, Paula Spencer, Sally Jones, Edward Budu, morning to everyone. Welcome to the program. Welcome. Again, I'm reminding you guys, the heritage celebrations are on. Get your hands on one of the calendars to keep yourself up to date with all the celebrations and where and what's happening and when for Heritage 2024. They had a very interesting cultural presentation at the National Park, and I do know that the Heritage Village is in full swing at the Sapphire Exhibition Center there, just outside the Sapphire there, right? What's been happening otherwise? People? I hope everybody is doing well. I saw some things that really jumped out at me, especially this morning as I was sitting with the team and working on content for today. We noticed the duplicitous nature of some individuals in our society, right? And the first one I wanted to point out to you is a letter, I think it is, from GHK Lal, speaking about media and how media operates currently, troll farms and things like that. And in the normal APNU fashion, and persons who are sympathetic to that group, they bring you this opinion without any sort of evidence or factual data to back it up, right? Now, in this piece by GHK Lal, they claim that Guyana didn't have oil money during the APNU government. And that's something a lot of people have been running with, that this Irfan Ali-led administration has oil money now, and that's the reason they're doing all these things, and that's the reason the APNU, AFC couldn't do anything of significance across this country. It is important to highlight how the coalition still managed to raise significant revenues through increased taxes and fees, which burden the population. So even if they didn't have oil money, over $80 billion was raised in terms of increased taxes. What was that money put towards? Now, during that period of the APNU tenure, 2015 to 2020, that government imposed these taxes on the population. And as I said, collected over 80 billion more in taxes during that period. This included VAT being placed on essential services like water, electricity, and even educational material like textbooks, internet services, severely affecting households. Right? So not having oil money doesn't necessarily mean not generating funds. Business registration fees and other administrative costs were significantly increased. For example, the cost of a vending license jumped from $12,500 to $65,000, creating major challenges for small business owners. This demonstrates how the government sought to increase its revenue through heavy taxation on the population. Right? Through heavy taxation on the population. Now, hold on a second. Now, in terms of how these actions from the APNU impacted key sectors, the APNU government also introduced additional taxes that impacted the agricultural sector, the mining sector, higher land rents for farmers, and taxes on heavy mining equipment. All these things hurt these industries. That, coupled with the closure of sugar estates, that led to the loss of jobs, affecting 7,000 plus sugar workers, and by extension their households, by extension the small businesses that operated around those factories. So sometimes I wonder how people could even make the argument about oil money when the APNU AFC administration, and at least in that case, whilst the oil is our natural patrimony, the taxes is what coming out we pocket. So at least if they did something of significance, you could say, hey, we know we money went to this, but we have nothing to look at and nothing to turn to. Right? Nothing to turn to. Now, more specifically in relation to this article and the media operations in Guyana, the article referred to the government as running a media prostitution ring and implies that certain media operatives are akin to prostitutes for selling their minds and voices. And these kinds of things from GHK Lal isn't anything new. But it is funny how these people have, let me say their vocal cords work selectively. Right? Now, the use of this inflammatory language discredits the argument by reducing it to personal attacks rather than addressing substantive issues. It is critical to refocus the conversation on policy differences and a factual debate. Attacking individuals or media platforms with derogatory terms doesn't provide a basis for healthy discussion, or accountability. Personal insults and hyperbole weakens the legitimacy of any argument if there are genuine concerns about media bias. Those should be addressed with evidence, such as specific instances of misinformation or unethical reporting, rather than resorting to name calling. Now, in his speech, GHK Lal provided no evidence or examples of this biased nature of, I guess, as he puts it, certain media houses. Right? The piece alleges that the PVPC government is afraid of independent media and relies on a troll farm to attack critics. And I mean critics as Chinese critics, but people critical of the government. Now, this assertion lacks any verifiable evidence. No documented cases or investigation has confirmed the existence of such a troll farm. Independent investigations into media operations or social media activity would be required to make such a claim credible. And it is essential. It is essential to ask for evidence when such serious allegations are made. Claims about media manipulation or government-sponsored troll farms need to be backed up by investigative journalism or concrete proof. Right? Now, the piece also contrasts true democracy with so-called make-believe democracy under the PVPC government, where opposition voices are supposedly silenced. Now, anybody on this program, knowing the opposition that we have, who could see that opposition voices in this country are being silenced? Sherrod Duncan is on almost every night with his nonsense. Kadaki is on every morning for at least 3 hours with his madness as well. David Hines spew his madness. The overseas based Guyanese doing the thing. So I am trying to wonder what is he talking about? What is he talking about? Coretta McDonald has said some of the most vile things about the Minister of Education. Likewise, they have opposition members who have said some of the most cruel things. So if it was a case where the opposition is being silenced, how is it that they are able to still make certain statements and host these live programs without anything happening to them? This is a complete misrepresentation of what's currently happening now in this country. In reality, Guyana's media landscape includes a wide range of voices, from government-aligned outlets to staunchly independent and opposition-aligned platforms. The continued operation of diverse media platforms in the country contradicts the claim of a make-believe democracy. Look at Enrico Wolford outlet. If that was the case, how is that operational? How is that operational? How is Kaiju News still operational if that is the case? Right? Now, Guyana's democracy, while not perfect, allows for critical voices, including those of opposition politicians, journalists like Gordon Mosley, Nazima Raghubir, Dennis Chibral, Travis Chase, all these people that we hear from daily, and civil society. So you get selective press releases from the GHRA and the People's Forum or Guyana Forum or whatever forum they call it, CIDG or wherever it is, a bunch of one man or max 5 people organizations that don't take into the account the interests, the needs, and the preference of the majority of Guyanese, whether them being in Guyana or in the diaspora, right? So the very existence of independent publications and the criticisms leveled by opposition figures shows the democratic processes, they are in place. Aubrey Norton go and views every Thursday or Friday. And I've mentioned social media operatives who claim to represent the opposition and the things that they say. So even in some cases, you have persons wondering how are they able to say certain things, the remarks they make against Afro-Guyanese who don't necessarily agree with their line of thinking. Is that democratic? Is that democratic behavior from the opposition? That you ridicule, criticize, and name call Afro-Guyanese that don't agree with your position? Isn't that a part of democracy to allow people the ability to make a choice, of make their own choice? Now, moving on, the article suggests that the diplomatic community in Guyana is watching and observing indecent and lawless media tactics used by the PVPC government. Now, people, diplomats and international observers in many countries follow rigorous standards of monitoring democratic processes, including media freedom and government accountability. The article implies a level of complicity and indifference among diplomats without offering any supporting information. Diplomatic missions globally maintain a standard of neutrality and often release reports on the state of media freedom and democracy. If there were significant media suppression, international watchdogs like Freedom House and the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights would highlight these issues. And when I say Freedom House, I mean Rob Street. You understand me? They would have highlighted these issues. No, there was an oversimplification of government and media relations. The article simplifies the complex relationship between the government and the media, accusing the PVPC of trying to control all narratives and suppress opposing views. In democracies, media critics of government policies, criticism of government policies is expected, and the media houses can have varied editorial stance. Simplifying this relationship ignores the dynamic role that both opposition and independent media play. Now, while governments may attempt to influence media narratives, independent journalism exists to hold all sides accountable. Constructive criticism of any government should be based on how media policies are implemented rather than unfounded accusations. And that is what we often find with JHK Lal. Provides you no evidence of a troll farm, but mentions this. Does no research in terms of what to back up his points in relation to media suppression and opposition suppression, right? Where was JHK Lal when the former president used to select persons, specific persons, to come to his press conference? Former President Granger. along with selecting those persons, you had to submit your questions beforehand. So it wasn't a case where you were shooting questions to the president that he wasn't prepared for. Everything was scripted. So isn't that some form of suppression where you're only allowing questions that you are comfortable with or that may paint your administration in a good light? Where was all the expose pieces from people like Nazima Raghubir, Gordon Mosley, Dennis Shibral, in terms of the unsolicited bids that went to cabinet, in terms of the purchases made by GPL of those bucket trucks that they overpaid for? Right? The opposition, whilst in government, were hauling former PVP ministers under the Ramutar administration in front of the court for things that they thought were illegal. The system ran its course. Those things were thrown out. Now, you have people like Patterson who engaged in a lot of alleged corruption and illegal activity whilst in office, who is before the court. Now you hear it's a witch hunt. Where was JHK allowed to talk about, what was it? Make-believe democracy when the opposition were engaging in their rigorous rigging attempt? You don't hear from these people. The very same diplomatic community that he's claiming is complicit in the suppression of media and opposition officials were very vocal in terms of highlighting the actions of the then administration, the then incumbent administration of AP and UAFC. So some of these persons who tend to take to social media and the media to write about these things were, you couldn't hear from them under the Granger administration. You couldn't hear from them under the Granger administration. After promising the people jobs, Nazima Raghubir went to a Granger press conference and accepted as a seasoned senior journalist in this fraternity, media fraternity in Guyana, that, hey, don't worry with that. We ain't providing jobs. Cocoa planting, chips and that. Y'all go and try it with that. Instead of pressing, why would the coalition government step away from the promise it made to the young people of this country in terms of providing jobs? Why would the coalition government increase? They lamented so much, and that's the thing. It was Friday afternoon. I was looking at Mark Benchcoff's program, and Mark Benchcoff had the testicular fortitude to talk about the PVP implementing VAT at 16% and highlighting that the coalition came in and dropped it to 14%. Took off 2% on the VAT and add 200 taxes and new fees and increase in fees to persons operating in this country. So if put it on the scales, people, and wait and see if it makes sense. 2% off of that and then 200 taxes. Take, for instance, I mentioned the vendor's tax, which went from 12,500 to 65,000. You would rather pay the other 2% in VAT and leave the vendor's tax at 12,500? Where was the public consultation in terms of increasing taxes and that kind of thing? Where was the public consultation on the increase in the minister's salary by 50%? Something that Coretta McDonald is lamenting and going on. She wants for teachers and this and that. Couldn't get it from the party that she is in. They gave themselves 50%, gave the teachers less than what they're getting now or what they got under a previous PPPC administration, and still talking about double figures and 25%. At no time during the protest or thereafter, prior to the signing of the agreement between the multi-year agreement between the GTU and the Ministry of Education, Coretta McDonald, Mark Light, or any senior member of the GTU has provided us with an example of a country that would have agreed and given teachers 25% salary increase one time. Wow, let me go. What up? What? Put aside teachers. There's no government that Coretta McDonald can point to that has done that for any class of worker, public servant, anybody. They do 25%. It's unheard of. Unheard of. A lot of Caribbean countries aren't even, their teachers can't even look to the government for salary increases. They can't even look to them for salary increases. Because they're still recovering from COVID, they're still recovering from shipping stuff with Ukraine war and all kind of thing, and imported inflation they're dealing with. So they're not even looking at increasing in salaries. This administration and previous PPPC administrations have been offering public servants yearly retroactive increases. How could we overlook that? Right? Coming back to GHK last piece. Now, look, I want to say GHK Lal has selective memory loss. I was hoping to hear more from this individual during the tenure of the APNU AFC administration. But again, you will see people like him only appearing at certain times, GHRA only appearing at certain times. And it seems like this administration, despite the physical proof that we can see of the transformation of this country, could never do anything of substance or value to the opposition or for them to acknowledge. The good part about it is Guyanese in general are able to make deductions on their own. So despite what you're seeing from the opposition, or hearing, I should say, from the opposition, because you don't see nothing from them. They don't do nothing with substance. So despite what you're hearing from them, like take for instance, I saw Nima Flubest. Let me get the flyer and show you. I saw Nima Flubest was in sharing out some flyer in mock-up after the ministers had their visit in the area. This person sent the photo, all the vehicle, all the hand, everything in it. If the people oh my gosh. Look, Trouble, let me get this to y'all. And then we're going to come back to these articles. I just want to show you, and that's the thing. It's always this talk about oil money. What did y'all spend the taxpayers' money on? What y'all spend the taxpayers' money on? So Nima Flubest was going through Mokushiri, now this stupidness here. Right? Going around Mokushiri, sharing out this foolishness. Now, listen to this. No hope under the PPP, APNU government, without oil money, but with 80 billion plus in taxes, hardly any blackout, large increase in pension and public. So, oh my God, look. I remember this program, I showed y'all a chart of the APNU increase in public servant salary. Right? The fact that these people keep like barefaced lying to people. Anyway, so I'm gonna go side by side instead of going down each side and then going to the next. So APNU have government without oil money, hardly blackouts. PPP government with oil money, blackouts have returned. Now, people, you must realize the economy Guyana on a whole under the APNU was stagnant. There wasn't the increase in terms of economic activity, persons opening business, overseas investments. There weren't 12, don't let me call a number. There weren't multiple hotels under construction. There weren't multiple hospitals under construction. There weren't multiple um, stadiums under construction. There wasn't the increase in business activity as there is now. So the demand under the APNU, and we used to get blackouts then too. So I don't know why they're saying no, well, hardly any blackouts. Blackouts were prevalent then as well. And then you contrast this to this environment here, where you have people opening businesses every day at an increased rate. You have more contractors. You have more, as I said, businesses. You have more government facilities. You have more of everything. So there's a greater demand. You understand? Next one, large increase in pension and public service servant salary, which we know is BS. This administration has committed to increasing pensioners, the pension for pensioners by 100%. They're 75% there. In terms of salary increases, the APNU never went over 10%. So if you look at what the government has given and you contrast that to a similar period in the APNU, the public servants would have gotten more. Established over 2,700 small businesses in indigenous communities. Now, that would be against the backdrop of firing 2,000 plus CSOs. So if you did that, that would have been a good thing. But other than seeing it here on paper, that the APNU would have created 2,700 small businesses in indigenous communities, what actual facts we have of that? Who has gone to see these businesses, or half of them, or quarter of them? Where these businesses are in these indigenous communities? When you come over to the PPP government side, they said corruption now rampant, including Jagdio's Sugate. Now, if I remember correctly, the vice president would have sued Sue. And because they find Sue, he has requested through his lawyers for, I think it's a summary judgment or something like that in relation to the matter. Now, if you all remember this video from Vice, these people came, they make all kind of offers to the vice president. He said, no, no, no. His government will facilitate the process and he'll make sure that you all get good arrangements so that you'd want to invest in Guyana. You'd want to invest in Guyana. At no point the vice president asks for money, collect any money or anything in this sort. So the Sugate that they're talking about, I mean, I'm trying to find out what really they're talking about. Why we don't talk about yacht gate or private plane gate? You understand? In relation to Mr. Harmony, if you're talking about corruption, or let me talk about the three-lane Demerara River crossing gate or Catty gate. Well, she had several gates because it was a $2 million gate on her outreach, and then they had a own checks to your own company gate. Why we don't talk about George Norton gate with the drug ban on Sussex Street? We ain't talking about none of these gates. Why we don't talk about Ganesh Mahipal gate, UG gate, UGSS gate, with the money that Ganesh took to buy thing and then give back to UG, the UGSS? Why we don't talk about UG fees gate, 35% in increase in fees at UG, putting pressure on the future of the country? Why we don't talk about Valda Lawrence Gate, friends and family jobs alone gate? Why we don't talk about Amna Gate? So y'all can't be for real. What Sue Gate you talking about? What Sue Gate you talking about? Build bridges, roads, and pump stations all over the country. This is only eight. Build bridges, they should say build a bridge in Maruka that broke up. I don't know which roads they're talking about because I know they finished off the East Coast Road where the PVPC had started. I don't know about the community roads that they would be talking about, and the pump stations. I wish somebody could identify them. And again, this is what you get. They will tell you these things, but provide you with no evidence to back it up. No evidence to back it up. But look, this is where it is. That is where it is. You understand? Look the pump station here. Look this road. Look this this bridge. Right? So they come over to the PPP with oil money. Cost of living squeezing and skyrocketing. Now people, the vice president would have spoken about this at length. And he would have also spoke of the initiative the government would have implemented to take off some of the imported inflation that Guyana has been experiencing. And then again, we have unscrupulous vendors as well. We have unscrupulous taxi men. We have unscrupulous bus operators. So it's not all on the government. The vice president talks about the subsidy for gas. He talks about the fertilizer that they brought in for the farmers. All these things to help with the increased cost that Guyanese are experiencing in some quarters. Right? The US government imposed sanctions and searching PPP ministers at airport. If y'all remember, Enrico is supposed to either apologize or be before the court at this time for these same allegations. Right? Which government ministers they impose sanctions on, man? And it's funny how people forget sanctions selectively. No, sanctions weren't imposed on an administration that was trying to rig an elections in 2020. Somebody please remind me, man, because like my memory going or something. Sanctions were imposed. Now, we're coming down to the last one. Distributed over 15,000 land titles and 5,000 50,000 land titles and 5,000 house lots, upgraded 31 housing areas, built 10 housing schemes, and built over 500 new houses. Jesus Christ. Listen, people, y'all believe, I don't even know what to call this here. I don't even know what to call this here. Could you believe when we read it? I had to take the thing off the screen. Could you believe this? These people said distributed 15,000 land titles, 5,000 house lots, upgraded 31 housing areas, built 10 housing. With these housing schemes, they would have named. What is the names? Listen, the APNU distributed house lots in three schemes. All the schemes are in Region 4. All three of them were in Region 4. All three of them were, the land was prepared and the process was started under the PPP. Perseverance, the place where Arby Norton CC the fall coops around those areas there. You hear me? So these 10 housing schemes, I am challenging Nima Flu Best. who was distributing this here to identify these housing schemes that they're talking about. You understand? And according to Aubrey Norton, the new houses that were built were full coops. They were full coops. So 500 full coops they built, according to Neiman, this flyer that they have here. 500 full coops. In terms of distributing 15,000 land titles, the land for the land titles were distributed under the PPP. So they were already being processed through the system at the Ministry of Housing and Water, CH&P. So what did you do? What did you do? You come at a point where everything was nice. You understand? So you didn't have to do any work, but just receive the praise for the groundwork that other people did. You understand? That's how they operate. So we come back over to the PVP with oil. Low salary increases, a slap in the face of our teachers and public servants. People, I am challenging you to go to Google and you check the salary increases under the tenure of the APNU AFC administration. Check the salary increases under the PPP administration. Check the salary increase for teachers under the APNU administration. Check the salary increase for teachers under previous PPP administrations and even this one. And you will see the difference. These flyers are seriously misleading. Seriously misleading. Nima's a horrible person. That's all I can say about her. Anyway, this is another article that you guys will see in the papers this morning as well. And I'd like to take a minute to touch on this too. Because again, you have persons like Anand Gulsaran who selectively find their voice, right? Now, the APNU administration, particularly under David Pasterson, bypassed the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board, making unilateral decisions in the cabinet regarding major contracts. Now, there were repeated criticisms of the APNU AFC government for bypassing the established procurement process and decisions being made without going through the proper tender procedure. These accusations were highlighted during the construction of a few major projects where contracts were reportedly awarded without transparency. This claim supports the idea that the administration disregarded MPTAB. So is now Anand Gulsaran going to be talking about MPTAB may be guilty of dereliction of duty? What happened to the Harbour Bridge and the bid for the Harbour Bridge and so many other contracts that went straight to cabinet for approval? Again, a serious case of selective amnesia, because Anand Gulsaran was alive and well during this time. He wasn't in no cryo state. He was alive and well. He was reading the papers. He knew all these things are going on. You heard nothing from him. You heard nothing from this guy. Right? Now, it must be noted again how Joseph Harman unapologetically defended a significant increase in cabinet salaries in the early days of the APNU AFC, leaving the public in outrage. Now in 2015, the APNU AFC government raised ministerial salaries up to 50%, which Harman defended, claiming it was necessary to attract qualified officials. Now, regular Guyanese couldn't get that from them. Regular Guyanese couldn't get that from them. Again, I asked, where was the consultation? What process was followed to come up with this increase for the ministers of government? Right? Where was Alan Golsaran to speak out against something like this? We heard nothing from him. Winston Jordan, as the former finance minister, denied receiving the signing bonus from Exxon, only to later claim it was a gift. This signing bonus from ExxonMobil became a major scandal during the APNU AFC administration. The government at the time had denied it. Then after the fact, claimed it was placed in some account secretly and that kind of thing. Jordan's handling of this issue, including referring it to it as a potential gift, was seen as a major breach of transparency. Where was Anand Golsaran? Where was GHK Lal? So once it's something to do with the PPP, woo! AP and UAFC, not a buy, better mention award. Not a buy, better mention award. But GHK Lal gonna talk about suppression of opposition and media and all that nonsense. When he didn't have a voice on the APNU, he couldn't say a word. No, the APNU AFC were engaged in rigging of the 2020 elections, making the voter input irrelevant by manipulating the results. Where was GHK Lal? Where was Anand Golsaran? Selective amnesia. So we have to question why critics like Anand Golsaran, who they're now vocal about the current government, remain silent during the APNU AFC tenure, when similar or even worse actions were taking place. So I just want to point out to you the inconsistency in terms of the criticism, where figures like Golsaran, a former Auditor General, is now vocal, but were seemingly less critical of the previous administration's lack of transparency, especially in high-profile cases like the signing bonus scandal and the bypassing of the same MP tab, where he claiming guilty of dereliction of duty. And the APNU AFC administration was constantly criticized for bypassing MP tab and awarding contracts without proper oversight. The decision to raise ministerial salaries, which was defended by Harmon and widely condemned by the public, highlighted the disconnect between the government and the ordinary citizens. The signing bonus, particularly Jordan's handling of it, is a prime example of the lack of transparency during the APNU AFC administration. Concerns about electoral manipulation under the APNU AFC government became a major issue in the 2020 elections, with international observers raising the alarm, local observers raising the alarm, local media houses raising the alarm. Y'all remember when this lawyer was calling out Gordon Mosley? I can't remember the issue in its entirety right now. But he was calling out Gordon Mosley for something. And Nazim Raghubir and the crew, Dennis Shibral and them, rally behind Gordon. Rally behind Gordon. So GHK Lal talking about manipulating of media and Government media. What you think Nazim Ragubir and Garden Mosley and Dennis Shibral was? Government media when they were there, when AP and UFC was in power. That was government media. That was government media. Garden Mosley never report on the bucket trucks. Garden Mosley report by the unsolicited bid that get carried to cabinet. Government media, man. Come on. Y'all get away from here. Y'all get away from here. Carla, good morning.
Good morning. So how are you this morning?
Trying with you.
Well, with you. It's something I would like to ask you about. I don't know if you know about it. But I was listening to critic the other, I think it's Saturday or Friday, and he is claiming that some minister, sitting minister, giving smell information. I don't know if you know heard about it. That's why I'm gonna call you and ask you. I don't want to do it now.
Critics say so?
That is what he is saying. Let's go back on his thing. He was saying some sitting minister that's giving information to smell.
Right.
So I go call you and ask you about it.
I didn't hear about it, but I mean, critic I know we talking about. He, you know.
He's saying that you know, in the even mention, he make a reference like you're living with your wife and she want to kill you. You know.
But brother, they got treachery in all quarters. You know, it may be true, it may not be true. I don't know. I didn't hear about it, but you know that.
You get full information.
Yeah, well,
you know, these people always get full information.
Well, if critics see got the information, I hope he presented. But I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay, don't be okay.
All right,
tomorrow,
good. Yeah. So, where was JHK Lalanan and Gulsuran to raise the alarm over the electoral fraud that was being committed by the APNU in 2020? They probably were sitting in their homes enjoying life, looking at it on TV, not mentioning a word. So for me, critics like Gulsuran they appear hypocritical for only speaking out now, despite staying silent during issues under the APNU AFC. Right? Hypocrites. They are currently working and competing with Aaron Ferguson for Hypocrite of the Year. Finally, let's get to some low life things. Look, hey, people, Guyana, sometimes I say it's not a real place. So you guys know, would remember in last year, the Vice President, Carla, good morning.
Hi, morning, Courdel.
Morning.
Listen to me carefully, right? Housing, when you go in, you have certain time to pay. People hustling and bustling to pay. After they lock out flat within 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And then you have to wait 10 years to get that house flat.
10 years?
And the government giving out so much a house flat. So the people have been living it at years. You hear me? Money-wise, things pretty expensive in Guyana. You hear me? Guyana have a lot of progress. I'm not denying that. But the price set to them, they are not raising the taxes. I work at Ramaran Enterprise for 30 years to $4,400 a day. You hear me?
Yeah.
So the government has to crack down on the private sector, them, the people, them salary. That's put them to peace. You hear me? So housing, yes, they're giving out the house flat. But the people that they are not getting the house flat right away, the people that got pay rent too, they got to look after the poor people them.
Yeah, but if you got build the house, I mean you can't move it right away. And then too, which house lot you saying that you get to waiting 10 years for?
I applied since 1994. Guess who last year? We had to kind of pass till I got paid $40,000 a month. You think it's fair? That's not fair.
So you applied since 1994 and you got through last year. Okay, she hang up. If you got through last year, I mean, you still got to build the house. I mean, I'm trying to find out if she on Sri Lanka already. You know, she credit done. Let me call she back. Yeah, so I was trying to find out from you, have you identified the lot as yet? What housing telling you?
No callers yet, sweetheart. No callers yet.
So you would identify the lot as yet?
Not as yet.
Where were you allocated?
Block Diamond, Great Diamond Block 7.
That's not
since 1994.
But that's not the new part of Diamond Day that they now setting up.
I can't really tell you, but it's not fair. It isn't fair to Chinese people. That is not fair. And if so be the case, I'm not going to vote for people for to say home.
If what is the case? Hello?
Yes.
If what is the case?
The case is going to housing. You got through on a land. You're supposed to pay it. No matter how you get it, you pay it.
Right.
Waiting 1 year, 2 years, say some people wait 10 years. We since 1994. Why we didn't go back? Because in 1994 time, they said I'm going to write you a letter. We never received a letter. A matter of fact, my husband, those time was a phone call, was a letter.
Right. But what I'm saying is, the place where you're talking about, that is an extension of the Diamond Scheme that the Housing Ministry has, I think is either last year or the year before, started to clear and set up for housing. So,
yes,
I mean, if they allocate the land to you, so that when you go in there, it's just you to start building, it's still a process that has to happen. Or
listen to me on point. The government doing a lot of progress. They're spending money a lot of places. Oh God, coming to the little place where it's emergency. That is what they got to do. The one first telling is one of the stronghold. They don't even come in here. Last year, the government finally come and build a house. Thank you very much for that. For somebody that I know, an old woman.
No, but you just said, because I just got to tell you, Men on Mission build a house through by the Muslim place through Horstel in the other day.
Yes, it's a family friend for me.
Right, but you just said that they don't come.
They don't even come anymore. All mission, indigenous people, yes, they are the people that come in the country first, found in the country first. But still, come on, we need help too. We need help too.
But they didn't do roads in Horstel in there too?
I can't really tell because I don't work anymore and I don't really go out. I can't afford to go out.
Well, Auntie, you need to go on the road because they do road in Horstel. They build the house for the lady.
Yeah, but
they had a public meeting. They had a public meeting in Prospect. But the president was in Prospect just the other day, which is over the road from Horstel.
We just know when they come Sunday, they are at the outreach. They got to put it over and I will be there.
All right, Auntie. Well, but I gonna endeavor to post the outreaches them so that you could know and you could go and visit. But the president had outreach in that area and persons from surrounding communities has come. And he was in Horstel too. So probably and have you been engaged in the okay. Anyway. So I could tell you that the area that you have been allotted, there's still some infrastructure works going on here, but you should be able to identify a lot pretty soon. I don't want to tell you no date because I don't know.
I'm going to tell you one more thing. I received a mail from housing stating in May I'm going to get my house back within June 31st of May. hear me? I was waiting still on me. When I came into the Freedom House, the girl told me she come in this place of road, Big some Crow, because they had this thing with the indigenous people, right? It's weird. She said, is it contracted and the send out? They send it a week.
Is it? You got a young professional home or something?
No. I have to bill.
So how the contractor sending you a letter?
That is what the girl told me, that is in contracted and the send it out. I have it and I have proof. I can post it up to you.
But here's what I'm trying to understand. If you were building your house yourself, you waiting to identify your lot. You would identify your lot yet. How is a contractor this is a contractor doing what?
I don't know. I got this mail, I read it, I go to Freedom House, I show it to the minister, the girl. She said this is what the contractor them does send out.
So why you didn't go back to housing? Why you go Freedom House?
Yeah, because housing them telling me something else.
What housing was telling you?
Today, tomorrow, they'll finish it there. Next 4 months. Come on, man, Courdel.
No, but wait, what in finish?
The place, they can start here. Tell me, my husband went in there. We don't even know the last 7 days.
Oh, so wait. I'm trying to understand. So the contractor sent you a letter to saying that the housing scheme wasn't finished?
That it is going to finish before 31st of May.
So then it's a problem with the contractor not really housing.
This was telling you. Contractor them, they're all over the place putting other people to do it and they're enjoying the money.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Well, I think...
I'm not telling all what
No, I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just trying to understand what you were saying. And basically what I think I understand is that the contractor who's preparing the scheme promised the residents that it would be ready by May.
Good.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now.
Nothing more.
Yeah, well, I think you would have heard that from the vice president himself that the government is taking a stronger stance with these contractors who are not keeping up with the time.
But you see, Barajagir, he only saying this and saying that. I call you on phone, not so they can't even answer you on internet. Whatever on Facebook, they don't even reply you. But when the election come on, they come for shake the hand in the crowd.
No, but
I campaign for PPP. It's all over. Only let them time I didn't go on SPB. And this is the results we get from them. I love them, but
Auntie, so you think the vice president might be a little busy with meetings and other stuff that he doing?
Other people working because
yeah, but if you call his phone, other people ain't gonna answer. Why not write a letter and send it to his office? Or why not go to his office and try to make an appointment?
I already did that. Hey, listen to me. I run a business for 30 years. You hear me?
Yeah.
Boss don't normally be there. It's really got to look after the business. It's easy myself.
What business you run it?
I run a business
for
30 years.
Okay.
Boss don't normally be there. So we have to look after his interest. Barrett, outreach, is that keeping the thing. But you have other people to look after people's interests.
Right. All right.
Understand me? I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. I go to high school.
I'm not disputing that. Just hold a second, please. Yeah, okay. Thank you for calling and sharing your views. Yeah. And I'm gonna check back with housing to see when that scheme is ready and give you an update. Right? Take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
I don't like get on like this, but sometimes you just get frustrated.
I know. It's understandable. Take care.
Good.
Caller, good morning.
Hi, Courdel, good morning. I'm calling from the East Coast. I went since 2022 and I pay for the house lot. They give me a paper. I had to pay for survey the land and transport and everything. I pay everything. And after this day, they never call. I never know where the lot is. Nothing.
Where were you allotted?
Non-prem. Enterprise non-prem.
That's a new scheme as well, right?
Yeah. But I see they went and carried set of people earlier this year and they give them and they went and see the lot of the place. But I don't know what happened. They're not calling to say anything.
Well, maybe.
They're telling you they're gonna get on here.
Well, probably maybe you are in the next set. I'm not saying definitely, but most likely you're in the next set. So they do it in portions.
They're calling since 2020. So I pay, you remember we in 2024.
Yeah, but
every time I call them, they're telling me they're gonna get get on to me, they're going to get on to me.
I understand that, but they can't get on to you until they're ready. Now, what housing is doing is allotting the house lot.
When you give the people, when you call the people them to go and pay, right? Why are you only giving them 6 months to pay out the rest of the money? When you can tell the people, okay, take a year or a year and a half to pay the rest of the money. You have to get all the money for 6 months. And then you're getting the land.
But how you mean getting the land? You're getting the land, you just ain't get it yet. What I think they're trying to do as well, because there's so many people in a backlog, they're trying to see who is ready and able to move forward with the process in terms of paying and securing your lot. So it's not like your lot not there or they don't know where it is. It's just that you haven't identified it as yet, right? So have a little more patience. The fact that you have a receipt, and I agree, and you've been waiting a little while. But the fact that you have the receipt in your hand, it means that there's a house lot there for you. I understand that you want to move forward and build and move into your own place, but understand that there's a backlog. Understand they got contractors that are doing stupidness, and the ministry can only do so much at one point in time, right? So the building housing scheme, this side, the building in Essequibo, the building in Letem, the building in Linden, and sometimes these things happen. So I encourage you to keep checking with the ministry, and I'm pretty sure before don't let me give them out liberty. I'm sure soon they will take you to identify the lot. You just got to hold it up a little bit more, right?
Okay, Courdel, you know how blessed.
You too, man. Honestly, people, the ministry is trying. The housing ministry is trying. The ministers, I should say, the CEO for CHNPA, they are really trying hard to clear the backlog and have persons start their building process or move into their homes and things like that. But we must understand that everything doesn't work smoothly all the time. The scheme at Diamond, I think that's the last scheme that is going to be in that area. There's no more space there. I guess probably when they extend the road to Mary, they'll have more housing schemes in that area there. But that's the scheme that's still currently under development, right? So once it's finished, the identification process will happen and persons can move in. I have a colleague, so please don't think it's anything particular to persons. I have a colleague right now who I think he is in Enmore. I think it's in the same scheme. And he is wondering, when he'll have an opportunity to identify his lot. He paid for his lot already and things like that. But the government doesn't want you to go into the scheme and you have water, but you don't got light. Or you got this, but you don't got drainage. So, give them some time. The fact that you have that receipt means that you are a landowner already. You just got to identify and start your building process. And it will happen soon. It will happen soon. Right? It will happen soon. So that aside, I can't leave without this one. Trouble. So as I was saying, in 2023, as persons may remember, sometime last year, VP Bart Jagdeo referred to Cathy Hughes as a lowlife in a press conference in response to her false claim that the VP had or was involved in ceding Guyana's territory to Venezuela. Cathy Hughes then filed a lawsuit for defamation against the vice president beginning on the 6th of September 2024. Right? So she testified that the low-life remark was offensive and damaging to her reputation. Not the fact that the allegation that Carla, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Morning.
I heard a caller calling and tell you that critics said something about Melly Mel.
Yeah.
critics didn't say that he owns. He said critics were that somebody giving her information.
Right.
He didn't say that his own.
Okay.
Right? So I just want to let you know. Tell that caller critic didn't say that. He heard that.
Okay. Thank you for clearing it up first.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good. Bye.
Bye-bye. Right. So the court case start. Right? Mrs. Hughes said it was offensive and it damaged her character and her reputation. So during the cross-examination, the vice president's lawyer, Sanjeev Dattadin, presented evidence from a Facebook post, which you're seeing here, in December, from December 2023. He presented a Facebook post from December 2023 where her husband, Nigel Hughes, also referred to her as a lowlife. Look, you can't make these things up. You can't make these things up. I hope that Cathy sues her husband. Because this is very damaging. This is damaging. This is damaging. Right? So Nigel Hughes also referred to her as a lowlife. Hughes admitted this publicly. And in my view, it weakens her case that Jagdio's comments was unique and particularly offensive. Your husband is doing this as well. And he is the person who spends most time with you. So if he could call you a lowlife, then probably indeed you may be low in life. Right? Now, what is so romantic about this is that the what do you call that? Is the defendant and the prosecution? Anyway, the claimant. And don't let me get into the legal jargon. But Cathy and Nigel sitting down side by side, husband and wife. Right? So you can imagine when the vice president's attorneys bring this thing up, the kind of cussing Nigel must get in the vehicle, the big fancy Lexus going home. I told you about that jackass post. Allegedly, she ain't said that. That's just me. You understand? Could you imagine? No, there was partial evidence submissions. Now, Nigel Hughes attempted to submit a 50-second clip of the vice president's press conference as evidence. However, attorney at law Dattadin objected, stating that the short clip was out of context from a longer 1.5-hour press conference, to which the court agreed that submitting only a brief excerpt was prejudicial and advised Hughes to submit the full recording. So I indeed want to see how this case going to end, who going to pay who. Now, during the cross-examinations, there were some more findings. Now, Hughes admitted during the cross-examination that her accusation about Jagdio giving away a channel to Venezuela was inaccurate. She admitted to that it was inaccurate. She acknowledged that the channel issue predated Jagdio's involvement in the government and was initially raised by Dr. Barton Scotland in 1989. Additionally, she admitted that her claim was solely based on a TikTok video. TikTok again, which she had neither retained nor submitted as evidence. So imagine you see a video, you vex about it, you don't download it, you don't, nothing. Just, oh, I vex, I go to sue. And her husband is a big time attorney. So could you imagine what kind of preparation they do before going to court? Look, people, it's Monday. Y'all go out there and be great guys. Don't go out there and be low lives. You understand? Even if you want to grow up to be a low life, you change that course. You got to aspire for something better, right? So even if you wanted to grow up to be a low life or marry one, you got to aspire for more. Don't marry a low life. Don't marry a low life. Anyway, guys, I am out of here. Y'all have a great Monday. Special good morning to GRA staff, right? People are complaining about y'all and how y'all are processing the compliances and the fact that it's taking forever. I had 3 taxpayers reach out to me about this situation at GRA. So I am hoping that the Commissioner General looks into it and GRA and its staff can expedite or process these compliances for businesses in a timely fashion. Right? GRA, pull up your socks. Pull up your trouble. Y'all be good Guyanese out there on the road, whether you're in Guyana or out of Guyana. Love you all. Remember, as I usually say, before I go, it's all about peace. It's all about love. It's all about one Guyana.
This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun.